Ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
It's been a
Ash,
while.
it's been a hiatus.
It has.
We took a
We
brief
did 10.
hiatus. We did 10, season
Knocked
1.
out of the park.
Ish.
Technically.
We're not really having seasons, but if we were to, it would have been season 1. But yeah,
When we get our actual TV show, we'll do seasons.
yeah. So if anyone out there
Our
is a TV
sitcom.
producer, me and Ash are available.
Someone on the spectrum, the sitcom.
So we took a hiatus. Did you enjoy your hiatus?
I did, but now like my hair's back to being long again.
I know mine's getting there too.
That's how long we've been away.
We have done.
Like,
We've turned back into the Beatles.
And I've forgotten how this works, that I gotta go the opposite way around. And
The hair-ection.
it's back. It's just gonna stay like that now.
Is your hair always like that, or are you just happy to see me?
I'm just happy to see you.
Yeah,
It's
baby.
been a while.
So today is
So what are we doing
episode
today?
number 11.
Oh, wait, look, if you look over here, see this?
Yes.
This is new.
Yes, I do see that.
This is the poem that you wrote for
Ah.
me in the last in 2 episodes
Two
ago.
episodes ago. That is the Ashley James special. The only
Right
one
there.
of that to exist on the planet. Typos and all.
Exactly, I loved it. So I put it straight in the frame.
Hey, baby. I appreciate that, man.
But anyway,
So
are
today
we
we're
doing?
going to do something. We're going to revisit something I think is really important, because with all of the information that is available about autism, there is even more misinformation.
There is.
And so today we are going to bust some myths about it. And I know we already did this once, but
We
today
might recover some.
we're going to probably recover.
Because not everybody wants to go back and listen to that episode. So if this is the only episode you watch, we're just going to cover some
You're
stuff.
being myth busted all left and right. And so we found a great article that actually has 18 different autism myths. And we figured, let's just knock them out, and we'll do it like speed round style. And we will come forth with our perspectives on these myths, and we'll see.
I wish I brought my buzzer. Just buzz in when you as soon as you got an answer.
Meh.
I can't make it that good. You set the bar too high.
Meh.
Man,
That's pretty good. All right.
people are tuning out right now.
People are like, you should have taken a longer hiatus. Next time,
Number
make it a
one.
year.
Next time, 2 years.
Number 1. I don't think these are in any kind of order at all,
Okay.
but myth 1. Individuals with autism are emotionless.
Well, we covered that last time. I feel things.
I feel
great deal.
everything.
Probably more than neurotypicals do, to be honest.
I agree.
Like, if anything, I think that's the opposite of correct.
I do too. I think
I could have
that-
said incorrect, but I went for the opposite of correct.
I would go as far as to say that we feel everything that a neurotypical feels magnified, but
Yeah.
we are like a lake that is calm on the surface sometimes, but underneath is churning.
Yeah.
We
I would
just
say
don't
I'd
always
like-
show the ripples.
I would say our circuits get fried a little easier.
I agree.
So it can seem like we don't feel things, but really we're just burnt out.
Really, we feel it
I'm just
so
trying to
often.
I'm just trying to figure out what's happening, and then by the time I figured it out, we've moved on.
I totally agree.
So sometimes I am delayed, but I do feel it, even if I'm not showing it.
And I think the other part of the equation is maybe the way that we express what we feel might not look the same as someone who's neurotypical. And so because of that, people are conditioned to expect a certain response. And if they don't see that response in that same way, they're like, they're not even feeling anything at all. And in reality,
Exactly.
we're feeling a billion trillion things.
Yeah.
We just don't respond to it in the same way. And a good example of that is with death. I don't know how you are with death, but like
We talked about that. Yeah.
I handle death a lot differently than a lot of people. And a lot of times people will see me, after we lose someone that we love or a pet or something like that. And I seem to have it together more. And then it's confusing. And they're like, well, is he not sad? And it's like, of course I'm sad. It comes out in a different way than it might come out for you. Like, I don't sit and cry all
Weirdly,
day.
this was like a point I brought up with the person who diagnosed me, because I was like, look, this when they were talking about emotions, I was like, I go to funerals and feel sad, and like I feel like I'm crying, but I'm
Yeah.
not.
Exactly.
And she was like, yeah, that's pretty much one of the main things that I'm thinking it's autism for. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah. So that's a big thing, I think.
That is a big thing. It's the expression of our emotion that is different. And I think that
Yeah.
that's the chief difference.
I just found this little guy.
Oh. Is that a voodoo doll?
I don't know what it's one of those art things that you compose.
It looks like a voodoo doll of maybe me.
Yeah. Gotta keep you in control.
All of a sudden we're in the middle of the episode and my arm's just like
What's myth
right.
number 2? Because we nailed
Number
that
2, numero dos. They prefer to stay isolated.
That's a toughie.
That is a toughie because sometimes that is very true.
That is the truth.
that one might not be a myth.
This one might be true.
But I feel like here's the problem with myths. Myths assign a characteristic broadly across the spectrum when that spectrum is so broad that you cannot do that. Because for us too, we do prefer to be relatively isolated. But I prefer my isolation to come with someone. Like I prefer to be isolated with Sarah.
With Sav, for me.
Exactly. So it's not total isolation.
No, but I think it's also the people. Like if you were here, I wouldn't mind.
No, me neither.
You know? But like if it was like
if you're in our bubble.
Yeah, if it was like George, like next door, I'd be like, what's he doing in my house?
Yeah, can you go home now? Let's see if it says anything.
That's a half true myth, I feel.
Like that is a half true myth.
But it's not broad across.
No.
It's not like every single person with this condition is this.
Agreed. I think that it just takes longer for us to open our bubbles up. And then once we do, and once you cross that threshold, you are someone that is imperative to us. And then we want you isolated with us. But like, I would prefer social isolation from a crowd every day of the year.
Every day of the week.
Every friggin' day of my life. I'd never want to be in crowds ever. Ever.
Like literally, me and Sav went out the other week, and we went to this town that we always go to, and obviously because of the pandemic, it was like empty.
Sure.
We weren't even. I was just like, this is so much nicer.
Yeah, it's like we need our own special like excursion days where everybody else has to just stay in the house.
Shops are closed on Sunday unless you go to.
Oh, hey, that would be amazing.
They do like things in the cinema now where you have like autism.
They do. Yeah.
They only do it for kids right now.
I know there needs to be adult autism screenings.
Yeah, for like the movies.
I would love that. Uh-oh.
Brown in the cinema.
You got paused for a brief moment, but you're back.
I'm just holding my honey mug.
I know. He's just Winnie the Pooh in it. All right. Number 3.
Here it is.
Ooh, this is a good one, man. They are prone to violence.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I don't know.
I'll preface this with this. In my lifetime, I have been in 3 physical fight altercations in my whole life. And I am just recently 39 years old. All 3 of them, they shared characteristics. 1, I was not mad at all in any capacity. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. 2, it was always self-defense. And 3, I was extremely confused why it was happening. All 3 of those.
I'll agree with that.
I wasn't prone to any violence. It was more like, that guy just punched me in the face. I feel like I should do something so I don't get punched in the face again.
I've been in a few more, but I think that's because the school I went to was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where it was just sort of like you're just walking down the yard and then someone just smacks you in the head and you're like,
I like how you said the yard like it's also a prison. I was just walking in the yard doing my weightlifting.
That is how it felt at the time.
You were in the
I was in the
deep dark
yard.
prison. Hey man, I
My
was in the
gang,
yard and I got
my
shivved.
gang weren't there.
But no, I think that is a myth. I don't think we're prone to violence. I think, you know what,
No.
I would be curious. I would be curious to see statistics on that. I want to see like what percentage of violent offenders have been diagnosed, because I
Okay,
would be way
let's go
I
the
would
opposite way. And
okay.
let's do this. And let's try and see where it's coming from. Right?
Okay.
Because like I'm interested to know where they got this myth from.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. I'm a little bit. I hit myself sometimes when I'm really
Well, that's what I
angry.
was just going to say. I
Yeah,
think that the most common form of violence for people on the spectrum is self-harm rather than
yeah.
what is
Like
the
if
opposite of
don't be
self-harm?
scared I'm gonna hurt you. I'm more of a danger to myself.
Exactly.
That
And I think that's
that's
what
my
research
warning
shows.
label. Like that's
Yeah.
genuinely true. But
It's
I
your
think
warning label would say, if I hit you while hitting myself, my deepest condolences. It was
if
unintentional.
I hit myself into you, I'm really sorry. Yeah, but like I genuinely don't think that's got any.
No. I
And I
think
know there are kids who bite,
yes, there are.
and I know, but like that happens
That happens with
like with a
neurotypical
lot of
kids.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors, and I know like the overwhelming when you're a child can be a little more so
Yeah.
because because you don't understand it. Like we're in a
No.
place where we're like, oh, it's gonna kick off any minute, and
Yep.
we know why, and we well, maybe not know why all the time. But we have an idea of why.
Sure.
But
I
when
think you're
you're a
right
little
though.
kid,
Self-harm is the most common manifestation of violence, which
yeah,
is too bad. And I think that's something that needs to be further addressed.
yeah.
So,
Next,
individuals on the spectrum are all gifted.
yeah, we handled this because you were
We
talking about
did
the
handle this one.
matches and
Yeah.
yeah,
Again, I think this one is it is a myth that is rooted in truth, because I will say I do think well, so here's the tricky part. I wouldn't go as far as to say that excuse me, that the prevalence of people with gifted tendencies are higher with those people on the spectrum. But I
yeah,
guess if you were to do the actual math proportionately to neurotypicals, just because there are so many more neurotypicals, I would guess that percentage of people who are gifted is higher on the spectrum.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
that is a myth that like every single person with autism is like Rain Man or can like do algebra, you know.
Yeah, like if you drop a box of matches and it's got up to like 7 matches in it, I'll probably be able to count it.
Yeah. Anything other
Like,
than over 7, it's like, I don't know, 15, 29,
and
200.
there's a 20% chance I'll get it right
Exactly.
off
But I
sheer
do
luck.
think, I would think though, that the way that people on the spectrum's brains are wired, maybe sometimes it just seems like gifts when really what it is it's just a deviation from a neurotypical standpoint. So like our brains just handle information in a different way.
Yeah,
And to some people it might seem like gifts. And maybe that's partially where that myth came from.
I think I'd also argue that the myth is too narrow in the sense of
Hmm.
what are you defining as gifted?
Yeah. What is a
Because
gift?
because like you've said it in the past, and I agree with it. Like all the stuff that you do creatively, it's thanks to the autism,
Absolutely.
and I'm the same.
Yeah.
And to me, that's gifted.
Oh,
In a,
absolutely.
in the way of like I can write this way, and I'm lucky for that, and that's
Yep.
because of this. So if
Yeah.
that counts as gifted, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
But
I think
the,
that's a good thing. The myth
yeah,
needs to redefine the word gifted.
yeah, I think gifted is too much of a word to be used.
I
But you
agree.
need to be like special gifts, where
Yeah. Or like genius level gifts, or like classify
yeah,
them in some way. Like, are you advanced in mathematics or whatever?
yeah,
Because I hate
instant
math.
instant equations. Whoosh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to be able
So
to do that.
so okay, apparently according to this, only 10% of people on the spectrum are considered to have savant. Well, actually, this is
Okay.
interesting though. So 10%, this is what I was saying at the beginning of my statement about how the
Yeah.
proportion is probably higher, because 10% of people on the spectrum are considered to be savant capabilities. Only 1% of neurotypicals. So
Oh,
that's a myth
yeah.
that technically they're not all gifted, but there is and that's what I would say. That's how I would ratify that myth. Not all of us are gifted, but there is a higher chance of gifted ability for people who are on the spectrum.
If you want someone who can count your matches,
Then
go
spill them
for
out
it.
and see what happens.
Then put autism required in your ad, and you got a better chance.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Are you ready? This is kind of the inverse of that myth.
Okay.
Individuals on the spectrum are intellectually impaired.
Oh, these myths are like really like not defined.
No, because that's another one where you'd have to define the word impaired.
Okay, because here's for me where like the things that I failed at in college, in school, in university, in almost anything in my life isn't due to my ability. It's due to my boredom.
That makes sense.
So like I'm not very good at history at all.
Okay.
I'm not very good at geography.
Okay.
But like that's because
you had no interest.
I've got no interest in it at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's quite a hard one for me to answer.
Kind of like 30-20-10s.
Yeah. I'm gonna master those, okay?
You will. So yeah, I think that one is just like, that's the upside down version of the savant myth. I think just like not everybody on the spectrum is gifted, not everybody on the spectrum has intellectual impairment that, significantly delays or reduces the quality of their life. I think that it's a spectrum for a reason.
Yeah, but I think restriction as well, because I think if somebody sat you in a classroom and was like, here's a pen, here's a paper, you've got to take notes, you've got to learn this way, this is the way you've got to do it, like, you wouldn't learn.
That's so true.
And
so maybe you're right. Maybe we're a consequence of a very broad and generic style of education that isn't tailored to fit people whose brains are wired a little bit different. And I know that to be true because growing up, my goodness, was like trying to learn the way that they told me I had to learn. Oh,
that's the thing is I understand that you learn different because I do too.
Exactly.
But I think if you force these people, and that's not even like autism.
No, that's everything.
People in general.
Yeah.
Whatever their condition, but even if they're just neurotypical and they want to learn different, I don't think they should be penalized for that.
No, I don't either. And I think that that's something that at a very basic and systemic level needs to be changed. We can't be educating everybody on earth in the exact same manner and expecting the exact same results, because everything from like socioeconomics, status, everything about that changes. It all depends on the way your brain works, where you come from, what your experiences are.
There are schools here that teach a different curriculum.
There are here too. Do you guys have Montessori?
I think it might be that.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure, but I have to look into it. But like they teach it through like art and like you can choose more creative pathways.
And self-guided
and if we're going to speak about on the spectrum specifically, creative is the way to go.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
100. All right. Here's a very, how do you say the word controversial? Because I know sometimes British people say it different.
Controversial?
Yeah, you say it the same. Here's a controversial ones.
No, you say eel.
Vaccines.
I say controversial.
Controversial.
That's how I say it.
Controversial.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Vaccines cause autism.
This is a myth that's
ugly,
embedded, but it's embedded into history.
It is. You just paused it again, so there you go. You're back.
Because I hear this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's unusual that you're getting the pauses and I'm not.
I know that is. That means that it's your system.
That's not so.
So this myth has been around for a long time. And here's the problem with this myth. This one has been perpetuated by people who have literally no scientific background or literally any idea what they're talking about. Some people got this idea and they started spreading it around and they planted the fear of holy Jesus in people. That like,
I've paid it so little attention. I don't even know the root of it. Like I'm just like, that's a dumb fuck opinion.
See, in America, it was a way bigger thing. In America, this is still like, here's how I'm just going to be honest, and maybe we'll lose some listeners here, but here's how ridiculous it is. There are people still right now in America that said if a coronavirus vaccine comes, they will refuse to get it because, in fact, Kanye West is one of these people.
That doesn't surprise me.
He just said that vaccines are the government ways of implanting chips for the government, and that is the work of the devil.
Yep.
And so people that are perpetuating these myths that, like, if you get your kid inoculated against polio, which no child on earth should have polio again, that you're going to end up giving them autism. And that is dangerous and it's misguided. And I'm sorry, it's just plain ridiculous.
But also, autism is cool, so.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can, A, save yourself from polio, and 2, be somewhere on the spectrum with us, like, I would choose being somewhere on the spectrum over getting polio.
I think I would too, yeah.
Good Lord.
But that one's a crazy one.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk more about that one because then I will be prone to violence.
Because it's literally just going to be that thing where the people who believe it. And I don't think
there's no changing
otherwise. So there's no point us wasting our time.
No. Next, another one that I don't even want to waste time on because it's just stupid. Children get autism from bad parenting. So here's how we're going to answer that one.
Yeah.
For you audio listeners who weren't privy to the video, a finger that was not my ring, index, thumb, or little just found its way up like a rocket ship into the sky.
Oh man, I like that one though. That's the funniest shit ever.
Like, that is so ridiculous that parenting causes autism. Give me a break, man. That's stupid.
Like, bad parenting can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah,
but it's not gonna be
gonna cause autism.
The reason you're here on the spectrum.
No,
that one's
that one's laughable.
Yeah, next. I just laughed my way through that.
I know, I just flipped it off, so that's all I had for it. So this one is kind of similar to the very first one, so we can kind of lump it together. Individuals with autism are uncaring and selfish. No, we're not.
No.
It's, again, that one just goes back to the first one where it's the representation of our emotions and like the responses, the way they look, that are going to be different than a neurotypical person. And so sometimes it can seem like we are detached, but in reality, we just process it differently. And like, we are always doing our best. And like, when we hurt you, I would wager to say that it is more damaging to someone on the spectrum when they cause someone else pain than it is a neurotypical, because like, we hold that like a burning ember inside us when we do something to cause.
I think a lot of it as well goes back to that whole thing of misunderstanding. Because like, if I misunderstand something, it can seem like I don't care.
Totally.
Don't understand. Like, I'm not saying that, I don't care.
No.
Whoa. But it's literally just, I don't understand.
Yeah, there's a disconnect in the communication.
Again, words missing from this myth.
Exactly. Thanks a lot, myth.
We need to write our own myths.
We do.
And then answer them.
And then be like, that was a dumb one. Even though we invented it.
Yeah, we'll just destroy ourselves.
All right, this is a good one.
What
autism, I don't know, something. They're not numbered, which is weird for me because I don't know. We're just like treading water in like an ocean that I don't know how deep it is. Autism is an epidemic. So here's where this myth is rooted. In the 1980s, only 1 in 10,000 children was diagnosed with autism. That was the current rate in the 1980s. And this is in the United States. I don't know Welsh numbers or UK numbers. Since then, now it's up to 1 in 68. So people are saying that it's an epidemic and that's why so many people, but I think the reason is
diagnosis, right?
It's just diagnosis, and it's just more understanding. We know what it looks like now. Before we didn't.
It's just this whole thing where it's just literally being like, it's been caused by vaccines, bad parenting. Now it's like, it's infectious.
It's a pandemic. It's airborne.
Do not come near us. If the next one isn't like if you go 2 meters near an
Oh my
autistic
God.
person.
I just had a great idea. How to save the world from coronavirus.
What's this?
We need to tell the whole world that if you don't wear a mask, you'll catch autism. Because then everybody would wear a mask.
Everybody seems afraid of it, so that
I
could
know.
work.
So let's just say, hey, if you don't wear masks in public, there's a chance you might catch autism today. Everyone would be like, oh shit. And they'll wear masks everywhere they go. And then we won't get coronavirus and we'll figure it out.
I think it's a
Done.
risky move, but
I like it. I'm
mean,
doing it. I'm campaigning.
it's
All
just
right,
this whole
okay.
thing of it being like this disease.
It's not.
And I don't even like calling it an illness. I don't really like the word mentally ill.
Or disorder.
No, I don't
Do you know
really
what
like
I
it.
think we should call it? Let's keep it ASD, but let's have the D be discrepancy. Autism
the ubbly
spectrum
bubblies.
discrepancy.
I'm just gonna start calling my autism the ubbly bubblies.
The ubbly bubbly. I'm gonna call it the others.
The others.
All right, next. A child with a few autistic behaviors must have autism. No.
No.
I love how we're busting myths just by being like, no, that's wrong. That's stupid one.
It's not that. It's just like these are the sort of things that are pretty obvious. Like,
yeah,
if you want us to bust this one, I guess it's just like there's symptoms within ASD that leak over to other things.
Absolutely.
And like I told you ages and ages and ages ago when we were doing an episode, I always thought it was just behavioral.
Yeah.
But some bad behaved kids can just have the symptoms.
Totally. And I think the key is understanding that in order to be classified as this, you have to meet a certain criteria. And it's not just like sometimes you do this or sometimes you do that. You have to meet a certain criteria in order to do that.
Last Wednesday, I looked at a light and I squinted really hard because it was too bright for me. You think I got autism? Like that's
so.
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
It's not.
My kid threw his ice cream cone because it wasn't the right color. Is he autistic? No, yeah. He's just a little bit of an ass. That's true.
You need some more sleep, man.
Okay, here we go. Behaviors in those with autism will last forever. Not true.
Oh, this is another one that needs more words.
It does need more words because therapy has improved so much over the last 30 years or 40 years that, I mean, in fact, we're going to have a special guest on in a couple of weeks. And I was speaking with her about it. She worked exclusively with someone who, if we're here on the spectrum, they were down here. And that was exclusively she worked with him. And when she first started working with him, he was unable to go to the grocery store or to speak or to do all these different things. And through a lot of therapy and cognitive behavior therapy, he ended up being able to go to the grocery store alone. And he ended up being able to, I mean, like he changed a lot of behaviors for the better to better his life just through effort. And so it is possible to see changes and to see improvement.
It's that thing we mentioned before. I think it was you who said it, where let's take a direct example. You were talking about eye contact, where it's only because we can do it. It doesn't mean it's easy.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that we haven't worked hard at it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean like that, or now we're not autistic anymore.
Yeah.
It just literally means we've worked hard to get here.
Yeah. We've been working our butts off behind the scenes to not.
I want a cookie.
Yeah. To not be like this all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess still makes me like the most uncomfortable thing ever, probably eye contact.
Yep.
But it's something that I do now a little bit more.
I feel like there's like a counter in my head at all times going, it's been 8 seconds.
I don't know if that falls under behavior, but I think that's a good example of behavior too.
Yeah, I do too.
In the sense of you sort of, it's a training to a degree.
Yeah.
It's a mindset shift, and it's that getting used to it, which is why we advise diagnosis.
Exactly.
Because then you know what's going on. There we go.
Right.
Throw back to all the other episodes.
Exactly. Watch them all if you haven't. Next, people can grow out of autism.
That actually fits in quite well with what we just said.
It does. It can seem like it does.
Yeah, because I
but
think
it's
we
different.
are high functioning human beings, as we mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before in a previous episode.
High-ish.
And then but it's that, and but like we just said, it's you get to this point where you just know that you can't be this reclusive person who can't make eye contact and who can't,
Yep,
and you want to make a change, and I
for
think that's
sure.
the important thing.
I
But that
agree.
links in with this.
It does. Next one. Autism only affects your brain.
What was the background noise then? It sounded like a creaking gate
It
out of a
was.
horror movie.
I think Sarah was sneaking herself out so she can go on a hike, and that was what we heard.
Like,
She's probably
yeah,
gonna
like
she's probably gonna make an appearance here in a second on accident. Let's see.
if she doesn't come in like this, I'm gonna be really.
What if she comes in from right here on the screen and her hair's all in front of her face?
Oh my god! I'll be like, that's gonna
Or what if she crawls through the screen and then all of a sudden hands reach out and grab your neck?
What if she just passes me an ice cream and I'm like, I don't know if I like this.
That would be amazing. As assuming that it's the right color.
Yeah. What myth we on?
Autism only affects the brain, but that's not true. It also affects your body. I think this one is more of a medical myth that like it's just a mental
Yeah.
thing and that's it. But like kids with autism are more likely to have epilepsy. They're more likely to have a lot of different physical problems too.
Yep.
So it is something that affects a lot more than just your behavior, like you mentioned so eloquently.
And if we had researched a little bit more and been more prepared, we could give stats. But
We could, and maybe we'll come back later with some stats.
we should. We should just do a stats episode where we
Yes.
just come in with stats.
That's it. All stats all day.
Where we just back off each other, one stat after another.
Actually, that's a good idea. We'll just like come up. Why don't we do this? We'll come up with an episode where in between now and the recording of this, you find as many interesting facts or stats as autism as you can, and I will too. And then we'll come back and be like, did you know? And we'll say them.
Okay.
I like it. All right, next. This one we have been busting for now 11 episodes. People with autism can't communicate.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. 11 episodes in, give me a break.
One season down.
So this one might be interesting. Insurance always covers autism therapy. I mean, clearly that's not true because insurance is a scam and you never know what it's going to cover.
That for me doesn't apply because it's obviously, I have a good healthcare system.
Yeah, and so I pay $400 a month for the worst insurance known to humankind, and it covers nothing. And even if I pay $400 a month, I still have to come up with $15,000 a year before it covers anything. So basically, I don't have insurance unless I like get hit by a bus or get cancer tomorrow. Welcome to America.
Wow. Yeah,
doing great.
like you tell me about this all the time. I'm like, my brain just can't compute it. Where it's like,
don't even bother trying to, because right when you get to a place where you feel like you understand it, some idiot in our government is going to change it again and be like, "Oh, we're not covering that anymore." And you'd be like, but that's like going to the hospital." Yeah, no.
It's gonna be your luck. You're gonna get hit by a bus one day, and you're like, "Oh, thank God, I got that insurance." And you're like, "Oh yeah, we don't cover buses
exactly."
anymore."
They'll be like, "Sorry, was the bus a Greyhound? We don't cover them because they're not our sponsor anymore."
Was it yellow? Yeah, we don't cover yellow buses anymore.
So you definitely have a better, I mean, like in your situation, you do get that stuff covered, which is fantastic, and I'm jealous.
Yeah. But I think our wait time was longer, right?
That probably makes sense.
But I mean, if that's what I have to pay, like I guess it's not as bad as what you have to go through. No, because I imagine it's a pocket destroyer.
Oh my God. Well, one of the number one causes of bankruptcy in our country is in medical insurance and health costs. I mean, it ruins families every single day because something happens to someone in the family and they literally have to sell their home in order to pay for the hospital bill. That's ridiculous.
That's insane.
Like, I mean, even including like people having babies, like having a child can end up like putting you $75,000 in debt.
That's crazy to me, man. Like, honestly,
again,
if I go into labor tomorrow,
like, you're not going to want to mortgage your house for it.
Well, I'm gonna be just fine. Like, it's not gonna cost me anything.
No. Okay, I think we're almost there. Next one, people with autism will need care for their entire life. Again, we covered that.
That's
It all
severity.
depends on the therapy.
But the severity of it, which we haven't actually talked about yet. I know there are some people who are like majorly like on the other end.
Yeah.
Where and I understand that, but I think even those to a degree might need help.
Sure.
But to label it care is sort of too much, and it's again too narrow, because
I agree.
for you, I would say Sarah, in a sense, makes your day to day better.
Yeah, she kind of is my designated caregiver.
Yeah, same with me and Sav. It's sort of like, so I wouldn't label it care as such.
It's just
sort
support.
Of support. It would be better.
That would be better.
Yeah.
But then again,
Sav, I'd be who
doesn't need support for the rest of their life to get through it? Everybody does.
Yeah, everybody.
It just looks different. Yeah, maybe we just have a tiny bit
different. We need to be told, do not do that.
This one's gonna make you upset.
Oh God, here we go.
A careful diet can cure autism.
I wouldn't know.
Well, okay. I would know, because I have so many food allergies that I have to eat the like healthiest, plainest food that this world has ever created. And guess what, kids?
You're still there.
I'm still here. That is just
I ate
ridiculous.
A salad once. That's my greatest achievement.
So there is one thing, though, I will say. Having your child diagnosed for proper food allergies or food intolerances, that might actually help some of your behavior issues that are coming. And like that can be a thing. It really could. Yeah. Just because if you're curing some of the discomfort that comes with, or the like biophysical feedback that is happening from eating certain foods, if you're fixing those things, some of the behavior might go away, but the underlying thing, the autism spectrum discrepancy, will not go away.
Throw out a little bonus tip here. If you are a person who eats food, not just turkey.
So not me.
Not just like, yeah. But like I find that a lot of people get stressed out over like cooking and like preparing meals, and especially on the spectrum. The thing that I have is I have now run-to meals that are easy to make, that I love, that if I'm just too overwhelmed to cook anything like out there and I can't even think in my head, I don't know what I want. It's just like, that's the meal.
Korean beef. Me one of them. Korean beef.
Yeah, man. Right there.
That sounds hard to make, though.
It's not. Easiest thing ever.
Well, I don't eat beef, but it sounds great.
I did it with turkey the other day and it was good.
Awesome. All right, final one, man.
All right.
This one, again, we're not even going to like dignify because it's just so dumb. A lack of affection causes autism. That goes right along with the bad parenting causes autism. That's stupid, and we're not going to even talk about it. Unless you want to talk about it, then I'm happy to listen.
I don't know. I don't know how much rage I got left.
That's ridiculous. That has nothing to do with it. But then again, maybe this is a stat we'll look for. I would be curious to see if there is a stat for how children with autism, if they are treated with less affection and if they would report less affection.
I think it's myths like this that make me realize that I might have to take up Buddhism just to stay calm.
I know that's what I'm at. Except for I occasionally slip and say asshole.
Yeah, but like you're already there. I might have to go to the library.
Yeah. Like, well, if you need any book tips, come my way.
I will.
All right.
But yeah, let's just end that there.
That's it, man. That's all the myths that we just busted.
Nice.
So I mean, some of them we were more eloquent than others. Some we just said, that's stupid, we're moving on.
Yeah.
But we did well.
What are you going to read? You going to do a little shorty just to end it off?
Yeah, I'll do a little shorty. I wrote this one last night.
All right, nice.
I don't know where it came from, but I'll read it for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Ready.
It says the following. I am a flower for the bees, a place they can declare hive and home. I am the place of nectar, the golden light and the drip of honey on some summer's day. I am a petal on the surface of the waters. I am the rise and fall as it finds its way to the sea. I am swallow flight and dive for supper. I am the call from branch tip as rest comes in the shining hours before dusk. I am the joyful sound that hides in wing beats. I am the echo across a valley. I am blossom. I am loam. I am the stubbornness of life, despite it all.
Sexy, sexy.
Sexy Rexy, Rex Manning Day.
I love that one, man.
Thanks, buddy.
What was the one you sent me that was short? I think you sent it yesterday.
Maybe.
And it was so good. But like, we'll save that one for next time.
Okay.
I'm gonna get you to read that one because I like it.
I'll do it. Let's hear the others.
Why? I got two. One's like short, one's like sort of short. Do you want the ode to childhood ended in rocket fuel, or do you want the ode to the road trip ended in professional help?
That one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's short. All right, let's do that one.
Okay.
It had been winter all year. It had been rainfall and a medley of feelings. It had been a long drive divided into four, cut with a shaking hand, but who's counting the minutes when the competition with the stereo was just heating up. It had been almost. I was the astronaut who left fingerprints on the moons of you, almost footprints, until the engine remembered how silence tasted and let itself die out in time lapse. Now it's just the plummet, without parachutes. It's the bursting into flames. It's the hole in the surface with me in the center, surrounded by snow, bleeding out and freezing. It is me, and it is me.
That might be one of my favorites you've ever written. Like, for real.
Good one, right?
That's a great one, man.
I like that one.
I feel like that one, that showed like a great deal of transformation in you.
Yeah.
That felt different. That one felt like a different style.
It sort of. I'm trying to blend some shit together.
I like it, man.
Because I'm on like this borderline of like releasing this book, and I'm like, I need to now switch it, take it somewhere else.
You did it.
I did it.
Well, so did we. That was the 11th episode, my friend, and we're done.
Oh my God.
So do all the things, tell your friends, sign up for the thing, and
tell your grandma, tell your granddad.
And you know what you should do? Just push play on our videos and let them run in the background of your house for hours and hours and hours, because we need to get to 4,000 watched hours and we're at like 1,000. So step it up, kids.
Do your part.
Do your part. Play it on every computer you own ad nauseum for 4 weeks.
Tell us what we need to do for you to do that, and we'll do it.
Exactly.
We'll just trade you whatever you want.
We love you guys, and that was number 11. We'll see you next week.